All right, hello and welcome to the Global Content Team Monthly Catch-Up. Today is December 7th. We're about a month into the quarter, and we're just going to review the projects that we committed to for the quarter and just kind of cover what is going well and what we're excited about, and anything that we are concerned about. So Rebecca, please kick us off.
All right, I have found my epics. So if you give me one moment, I am going to share my screen. A project that I'm excited about is one of the OKRs that we have as the editorial team for this quarter is to double down on technical content. So yes, I found it. Okay. So there were a few pieces to this, and some of this is about, oh, hang on, I'm not sharing my screen. Slick as always. Okay, here we go. So we have an OKR about doubling down on technical content. We have issues open for the various ways that we're pursuing this. But something that I'm really excited about that has been working well so far is just, this is a quiet quarter for us usually. And so as people kind of slow down and they think about closing out their own activities for the year, we have had less kind of inbound blog posts, which has kind of freed us up at this perfect time to really focus on the things that we know to do well and to pursue those instead of just kind of processing stuff that comes into us. So we've published a couple of posts already that have been doing really well. This one is an example of us going after topics that are surfaced to us via the GitLab Unfiltered YouTube channel. So this Thomas did a video about merge request reviews in VS Code, and I reached out to him to ask if he would be interested in writing a blog post based on that. And he was like, actually, I've been writing this unfiltered blog post about extension development. And I was like, people love VS Code. Let's reroute this to the main blog. So we actually have two VS Code related posts going up this quarter. This one is the first. And it's already had like over 3,000 or 4,000 unique views without being shared on our own social channels yet, because I believe a lot of that traffic came from the News Stack tweeting this post. So I'm syncing up with Jen Leslie to find out if there's a way that we can maybe formalize that relationship. They already have a relationship, but it's not about social sharing. Sorry, I realize I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but this is just, yeah, I'm excited about this path that we're going down of just like going after the things that we know to do well. I think we've always known what our audience is most interested in on the blog. We've experimented a few times with different tactics and trying to reach new audiences. But it just goes to show when we really kind of have a laser focus on the things that have always done well for us in the past, that is the gift that keeps giving, and the page views will follow. So we have a couple of other ideas around this, but what we've been going after for the most part is just, sorry, I feel like, I don't know if my earphones are working. Can you all still hear me? The noise canceling. Okay, great. Noise canceling keeps going in and out. I think it's because I'm talking. So yes, monitoring the YouTube channel and our Unfiltered YouTube channel is one of the tactics that we're doing to get this. Also, something that I've been doing is reaching out to people who wrote our most popular kind of inside GitLab tales from the engineering trenches posts. And we have a bunch of follow-up blog posts based on those original posts, or stories that those authors who we know to write great content that they've been sitting on and hadn't got around to writing. Those are now kind of scheduled on the calendar. And I'm meeting with an engineer next week to help him ghostwrite one as well. So yes, that was my stream of consciousness summary of the one project that I think is going really well this quarter and has got me excited about kind of putting some of these things into practice in a more programmatic way going forward. And with that, I will stop sharing and stop rambling.
Are there any projects that you are concerned about?
We have an OKR around developing a social advertising program for the blog, which is not going well, but it's just been so many moving parts that we haven't coordinated all together before. So I don't think we had our timelines worked out very well in advance. And we've talked about this in our content leads call. I think the understanding is that it will be a little bit scrappy this quarter, and because we don't know what we don't know. So those programs are only likely to launch in January, which means that we won't see results by the end of the quarter. So it might look like we didn't succeed in that OKR, but I think we have an understanding that this is kind of testing the waters to put it more into a kind of documented process for the quarters that follow.
And can you just quickly walk us through all the different people that you have to collaborate with in order to get that project into the world?
Yes, so we have to request design assistance for the whatever images that we end up sharing on social. We also have to coordinate with the digital marketing team to make sure that we loop them in, so that they have a whole process that they run to kind of kick that off. We have an ad agency, and they need to kind of make sure we have the right budget allocated to it. And then we also need to put together a Path Factory track, which is coordinating with digital marketing programs. Yeah, I think I covered all of them. It's been a lot of moving parts.
Awesome, thanks. Bree, do you want to go next?
Sure. I don't have a link to share. I thought I would just talk about the projects that are going well. Specifically, I think web articles. My dog now has decided to join the call. This is Poppy. She's a pain in the bum. So I think the web articles are supporting our OKR for creating net new content, but also to drive more traffic. And we've noticed an uptick in traffic over the last couple of months. And it's, I think, specifically because of these new web articles. They're really driving awareness level content. They're supporting the topics pages. I'm excited to see them continue. And I hope that within the next couple of quarters, we can move towards other topics pages and still, you know, keep creating these pages and adding to the site. And I think that the content marketers have done a really good job coming up with their own ideas for how this is working, and being creative in these kinds of, because they're very straightforward pieces of content and they could get boring really easily. And I think that they've been very creative, which is helping to drive traffic. Sorry, she has like the zoomies now. The other thing that I just wanted to point out is the blog repurposing project that I think is going to be really useful to us in the future. It was slow to start, and we're just now sort of understanding like what the actual technical steps need to have happen, which is something that I'm going to update on the handbook page, is you know, creating the steps to walk through how we move a blog and redirect it from a blog to a web article. And I think that those, again, the content marketers have done a really good job of finding these blogs that would be more evergreen and helping to turn them over into web articles. My concern continues and will forever be case studies. They are continuing to amp up. There are interviews weekly, and I think that it's a matter of sort of really pushing on the customer reference team to start there. I know that they have a process in place that they're starting to implement, but I think that there's a cutoff date that needs to happen to ensure that like we aren't getting overloaded with case studies that may or may not be worthy of being written into case studies. And so that's kind of a tricky situation still. And I continue to depend on the content marketing team to help write these. And they've been really helpful in doing so. And Fiona and Jen Parker are amazing to work with too. So I have actually no real complaints about it. I just think that the situation itself is pretty tricky. So that's the only concern that I have. Otherwise, I think everybody is really working their hardest and creating the best possible content for our team for this quarter. That was very just like you know,
Oh,
I
that's
have
great.
metrics or links to support my thought process. I can link to your slides though that do actually support the, you know, the page view growth. I can put it in the doc if you want.
Sure. Yeah. Any links would be helpful, especially when Danielle goes to watch this video and she can reference the agenda for quick links to what we're talking about. Let's go next.
I can jump in. Apologies, first of all, because we are releasing a video in 40 minutes. So we're in the midst of, I'm like half here and half like, change that title in the description kind of moment. Essentially, we are releasing the theme video for the WW field sales meeting for the sales team to kick off SKO. So that's what we're doing, and that's why I'm off camera, because I've been working all weekend and I look like a hobo. But honestly, I just wanted to point something out that Bree said, which is I would agree with if we could find a way to streamline the process for customer stories, case studies, and that sort of thing, and kind of work together to kind of find a way how we can make that work for both the written, print, website case studies, and then furling in how we would work with certain customers for videos. And we had already started working on that with Fiona and Jen are great, but we just haven't been able to really lock down a strategy because of like so many things flying around and that sort of a thing. So maybe this is an opportunity to do that. In terms of main things for the quarter, we've got a lot going on. Obviously, sales kickoff, which I mentioned, which is the kind of, this video is the beginning of kind of a plethora of videos that we're doing. We're trying to keep it at a reasonable level. So that is slightly a challenge, but we will make it happen. I think the other thing that we're really focusing on, obviously this quarter, is the demo video. We've had some challenges with that as well. I think right now the biggest challenge is deadline and budget. So that's what we need to figure out this week. Now that I have that one video done, I can kind of really focus this week to find money to do this, particularly in the time frame if we're still trying to get this done by the end of the quarter, because we lost Dan and we had been working on it, and there's just some transition things that need to happen to make this happen. So I'm just not sure realistically with the holidays and all if we want a sane Erica come Q1 that we don't have to have this video like 100% done and up on the website. So we'll see. So that's something to talk about. And then beyond that, there's some other things in terms of documentation and gear for the larger organization, and then also within the digital production team that we're focusing on. So documentation is, I'm just like going all the way in, a weak point for us because we don't have time to do it, but we're really trying to find that space to do that this quarter. So that's kind of it. There's a lot of like drill down, and then also, the use case kind of series that we're trying to do that goes in line with the kind of customer stories and case studies that Bree was talking about. So again, that's where that use case and where we should kind of come in to determine how video plays into that. So yeah.
What are you most excited about?
What am I most excited about? Not being in 2020. No, I'm just kidding. What I'm most excited about is I think the demo video could be like, if it's executed properly, I think is a great opportunity to create this very first step of the experience for people and learning about GitLab, and then really be able to educate their experience from there and create funnels and clear things where we're talking to people explicitly for why they came to us in the first place. So if done right, I think the demo video is a great start for us for a lot of other things that we produce on this team.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing all of that. Who would like to go next?
I mean, I'll go next. So I guess what I wanted to start with, what's been going well, is that the Jenkins campaign launched, and that was like a super last minute thing where it was like, oh, we're doing a Jenkins campaign. Oh, you're expecting me to do the writing for this. Oh, you're expecting me to write emails for this. But I was able to get it done and I really enjoyed it. I do like working on campaigns. I think they're a lot of fun. And it's great to collaborate with people. So I think the Jenkins campaign went really well. And I just finished a Jenkins blog that I think is getting published this week. It's in review right now. And yeah, so I've really enjoyed that process. And I published the Quick Guide to EKS with GitLab ebook, which is great. And it's getting promoted with AWS reInvent. So it's kind of cool to see like something that you've, put together be like sort of promoted by the social team, and they come up with like all these little blurbs and you're just like, oh, like you're proud. So I think that's gone really well. And the only things that I've been concerned about regarding case studies, I've been a little bit slow on them, mainly because the ones that I've received are like these people like GitLab, but there's not a whole lot of metrics to support why they like GitLab. So finding the story and finding something that's worthwhile has been kind of difficult for me, because it's not really case study worthy to just be like, they really love GitLab. You want there to be a little bit more meat to it. So that's been a struggle for me. And then I just had a lot of deadlines all in the very first week of December where a lot of people were out. So people that I relied on to collaborate with or get feedback from were like not around. So, but that's done now. And so I'm looking forward to working on web articles and working on converting the Making the Case for CI/CD webcast into an ebook. That's actually shaping up to look really good, and I'm excited about that. And looking forward to getting out of this hell year.
I have one follow-up question for you. I'm just curious to know what the lead time was on the Jenkins campaign from when your time was requested to when the work was due, if you have a rough estimate.
Less than 2 weeks. So it was like I learned like the beginning of 1 week and then it would do like the next week. But I had a little bit more lead time when it came to like future things. So like working on the blog for Jenkins, it was like, okay, I can plan that out like 3 weeks away. But it was pretty quick. It was about 2 weeks.
Thanks for sharing all of that. Sarah, Val, anyone wants to go next?
I'm more than happy to go. So sort of piggybacking off of what Rebecca was talking about, like we've spent a lot of time sort of trying to build a strategy as to how we are going to create technical content as part of this push, and also not just like come up with the ideas, but also implement it. So I've been doing a lot of writing, and Rebecca has kindly stepped in to help with some of the writing as well, because we're short-staffed right now. We're still interviewing for the senior content editor role. And so we've just been really like sort of trying to hit the ground running with writing a lot of technical content. So and forgive me, I was out last week, so I'm still kind of like reorienting myself as to what actually we have done and what is yet to be done, and all of that. But I know that I was looking at my issue calendar, and I'll be writing like a collections post on how we do the technical title is how we do XYZ with GitLab. So we'll be like sourcing some content from different commit video sessions. And this is going to be like part one of a collection post, which is how we do things with GitLab. And then we have a second follow-up collections post that's going out in January, which is like how we built things with GitLab. So as we were looking through the different types of technical content, we realized there was like some clear buckets that we could sort of put them into. So that's one thing. And then we have a number of other technical posts. So it's definitely a bit of a heavy lift over the next 2 months, but I think we can do it. So just, yeah, a lot of writing, and we'll be working on that. And I am following up with Miss Flowers later in the week to talk about how we can better like utilize the GitLab Unfiltered channel to sort of source like high performing technical content in a more efficient way that doesn't create more work for either of us, because surely there is a way. So we're going to try and figure that out. But yeah, I guess the things that I'm concerned about is just like it's a little bit daunting to have so many technical posts, but I think that we've found a way to sort of capitalize on the engineering knowledge that exists in GitLab and sort of empower people to write that technical content for us. So it's not so much of a heavy lift for Becca and I. And then we're working on some of the more like editorial type posts, like how we do XYZ with GitLab. So yeah, I think we'll be able to hit the ground running. And well, we will, because that's the option we have. So we will hit the ground running and it will be good. But yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. Val, you want to wrap it up for us?
Sure. I'll start with what I'm excited about. Dun, dun, dun. Developer survey launches in January sometime. So of course I'm excited about that. Particularly excited about the fact that we are going to, the fabulous Vic Bell has created an amazing logo for our giveaway t-shirts that says, "I am DevOps." And it's just a great look and feel. We're going with a t-shirt company that's got a great policy of sustainability. So the first 1,000 people who take our survey are gonna get a t-shirt. That's how we're gonna promote the survey this year. So extra excited about all of that, and also excited about the fact that only a little bit of tweaking is going to be involved to kind of just launch the survey, as opposed to last year where we literally started from zero. So Will and I have a plan, Bree and I have a plan. There's lots of planning. Yeah. Anyway, so that's been a lot of November, or at least some of November for me. But anyway, the one thing I'm probably pretty excited about. Otherwise, lots of web articles around the DevOps platform. It's a bit of an interesting challenge. We want to own that term and the space, but from a content marketer perspective, we're making this stuff up as we go along, because honestly, there isn't a lot out there about this. So it kind of makes it hard to slice and dice it into different articles when really, what are we working with here? So that's been, I mean, we're doing it. I think we've got 3 articles down on this subject. And this week I'm actually going to we have enough content that I can actually create the DevOps platform topics page. Up until this point, what we did was simply update the DevOps page to include the term, what is a DevOps platform? So case studies are kind of fun. I like them, although again, metrics can be all over the map or completely non-existent. The blog repurposing is useful. I'm working on both DevOps blogs and DevSecOps blogs in terms of repurposing. And I've got 2 more blogs I'm working on, both largely coming out of the developer survey, because I'm going to end 2020 milking that survey for as much content as I possibly can. So that's all I've got.
Awesome. Thanks. And thanks everybody for kind of going through that. I think it's going to be really helpful for Danielle. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.